Your YouTube feed is crap. Stop wasting your time watching bot-boosted shills and self-appointed gurus cloying for your attention. Instead, join the Gosslings interview live stream and podcast. The Gosslings, a dark-lit digital speakeasy of free thinkers. A super chat of radical truth-seeking wizards who eat trolls for second breakfast. Topics that'll make your mama's hair stand on end. Ideas that'll make your pastor's knees knock. Guests that will illuminate the hidden chambers of your mind. And interviews that strike down the darkness. Welcome to the Gosslings.
I'm mangoing everywhere. Greetings, everyone.
Hey, folks.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Nick.
And we are the Gosslings. And we have an awesome episode for you today. Nick, do you want to go ahead and get us started on the preamble here?
I think we should. Let's start with the basics. We're really glad you guys are watching us tonight. In case you didn't notice, fall has snapped us like a rubber band. It's here. The cold has set in.
Autumn has fallen.
Yes, indeed. But we're really excited about tonight. Here to join us. We're going to bring him on in just a second. Of course, you guys know the great John Bennardo.
Yes.
Before we bring him on, we're going to do the obligatories, of course. We'd appreciate it if you would subscribe. That helps us big time, grow the show, and it'll help keep you informed when we have new episodes coming out. And also would like to mention our sponsors.
Yeah.
Let's start with Jordani Jovanovic.
Yes. Hair care products made by real men for real men. We love Jordani Jovanovic hair care products. It makes me look presentable to civilized society. And they have everything from shampoo and beard oil to hair growth serum and hand cream, run by a small Christian husband and wife team out of Arizona, Mike Fisher. They've been very kind to us. And as I always say, be as sexy as you are deadly with Jordani Jovanovic hair care products.
They got great names too. This is the covert pomade. Vengeance. This is the textured paste. Commissioned. I mean, they just got great. I mean, the marketing and branding on this is brilliant. I had to beat women off of me at church this morning.
Oh, really?
I used a couple of these products.
Yeah.
I used Fury. Women love that. And Rogue.
Yeah.
In church.
Yeah, if you want to give 007 a run for his money, or if you want to enlighten your inner John Wick, then you will find yourself in no time shopping for a Benelli M4 and a Kimber Warrior and a nice suit. And
no Walter PPK.
Nah, classy gun, 380.
Gun snob over here.
Yeah, no good. Okay, he does use a what is it? Oh, an HKP 30L. That's right. He uses an HKP 30L in John Wick, and I'm just like, you could do better, buddy. Come on. Yeah.
You should consult with them next time around.
Yeah,
if they make a John Wick
call
29.
Call me, Keanu. I'll get you set up on the good guns. Terran Tactical, whatever. Anyways, all right, we got to keep moving.
I shoot guns.
Yeah, I know how to shoot guns. I know gun fu. No, you don't. Christian Bale knows that, and it's from that other movie that he did with Sean Bean. It's really good. Anyways, Kothon Spartan mugs. Let's talk about those.
Talk about Kothon Spartan mugs. You do this one.
Yeah, so designed by Joel over at ChericoPottery.com. These Kothon Spartan mugs are handcrafted. Each one is unique in their design, and they are modeled after the most evidence that we could possibly gather, which is all pretty much written evidence of what the ancient Spartans actually carried around with them when they were on campaign. And these mugs are expertly designed. Again, all handcrafted, hand painted. Each one is individual in nature. And it's Joel. It's Joel who runs the whole operation, and he's a machine. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, ChericoPottery.com. These mugs were designed in conjunction with Stephen Pressfield, one of our best friends and favorite authors, the author of Gates of Fire. And so we encourage everybody to go to ChericoPottery.com and peruse his listings and see if you can get a hold of one of these, because he does limited batches of them.
Yep.
And they go quickly. So, yeah, ChericoPottery.com.
ChericoPottery.com. All right. And now
obligatories out of the way.
Finally.
Yeah.
Man. But our sponsors are awesome, and it's really great.
Oh
for
yeah,
them to
they're
send
sweet
these
to us.
things. Oh, it's so great. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, our guest today.
Yes.
He is our guest today. Has a master's degree in screenwriting from the American Film Institute.
Nice.
He's a documentary filmmaker, Wheel of Fortune champion. He is the author of Just a Typo.
Yes.
Which is a humor novel that satirizes cancel culture.
Yes. Becomes more and more prescient and more relevant with each passing day.
It does. And he's possibly Weird Al Yankovic's biggest fan.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot coming from Nick and I, because we were obsessed with UHF and still are to this day.
Yeah.
That is the gift. That's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
And my kids are now UHF fans.
Yeah,
too.
it's the Jelly of the Month club of movies, if ever there was one. And I think Siskel and Ebert would agree with us. But they're both dead, so who cares?
Well, are they both dead? I know one's dead.
I don't know. What, they're dead to me because I didn't.
But
like
John's
UHF.
thinking like, this is the weirdest intro I've ever had.
We should save ourselves and just bring
all
John
of
on.
this is like not all of this is on his resume. But he is also a fellow writer and in his own words dealing with life's absurdities one at a time.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome longtime friend of the Gosslings.
Yes.
John Bennardo.
John, how you doing?
How
buddy?
are you, sir?
Thanks for having me on, guys, for the third time, right?
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's good to see you.
As you were doing your preamble and everything, I know we have to do our toast. You want to do that first? I have a couple of things I wrote down that you made me think of as you were doing your preamble. What do you want to do first?
Let's do the toast
Yeah,
first.
let's do the toast.
And then
Yeah.
let's
Let's do
jump
the
right
toast.
into it.
Yeah, I started last time, actually.
Okay,
So
I'll
I'll let
start.
you do it.
We got the ticker at the bottom, so you can keep up. I'll say the first half. Everybody else say the second half. Take up the broken sword of your father.
And strike down the darkness.
Down the darkness.
Cheers, John.
Cheers. All right, so I know you guys are supposed to ask me the questions, but as you were doing your preamble, like I wrote 4 things down. I took some notes. First of all, I know before we came on, I'm wearing your shirt.
Looks so good on you.
However,
So good
I'm
on
looking at both of you, and each has a different saying. Correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got different sayings.
How'd you do
on them.
that? How did you do? You just make 4 or 5 different versions? What's the
we
deal
made
with
several
that?
different versions. Yeah, several different
Canva
versions.
and Teespring.
Yep.
You design them on Canva, and then you upload them to Teespring, and you could choose the color, the options that you want to have available, and the material. We love the tri-blend because it's so comfortable.
Yeah, that's the soft tri-blend. I like that.
But I like my saying, which is I think your spelling is perfect, which the spelling here in a way is, it's the grammar that's wrong. But then I notice you guys have different sayings, so that kind of caught my eye. That's question 1. Good job there.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, thank you.
How did you send me this? How did I get? Why did you pick this one special for me, or what? This is random.
Yeah, because you're a writer. Some of them are writer themed. Others are a little just more general. In fact, like this, mine says "Interviews to Strike Down the Darkness" was our slogan.
And then mine is actually I just grabbed this one, so this is so uncouth of me, but this is actually like the one we designed for Stephen Pressfield.
Oh yeah.
So, and I did not have time to change today before we got started.
Okay,
so yeah, so we did like a special promo one for Pressfield for one of his, and we have another one that we're big typewriter aficionados. So we have one that says every time a bell rings, like the typewriter bell, every time a bell rings, a demon's laptop dies, because we're kind of Luddites, you know.
That works.
Clearly.
And then, of course, you can't hack a typewriter was the original shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, the original shirt, and I still really like it, but we got to beef up the design a little bit, was a V-neck soft tri-blend that had our original logo on it. I know, John. Yeah, I know. Like there are like 4 people who like V-necks,
and I'm not one of them.
I know, it's just me. Yeah.
But well, you have something to show with your V-neck. I'm just kind of like, there's nothing going on really right here that I want to show off.
It's just
I don't have dude cleavage.
Oh, a manly pate of chest hair.
Yeah.
Is, you know, what is required for the tri-blend. And then I wanted to get like a gold chain that I could wear right here. You know. Yeah.
Get that Greek look going.
Yeah. I could really embrace my Spartan roots that I don't have now.
There you go.
No, they're super easy to do, John, and you could totally do them for just a typo. And all
I've made T-shirts for my documentary, the $2 bill documentary. I've got a T-shirt with my 2 logo on it, but I've never really thought you can make one with like multiple versions. Just be like 10 different orders, and then you have to order like a minimum of 20, and the next thing you know, you're out $5,000 just because you wanted 10 different shirts, as opposed to ordering like just this,
Yeah.
With this, so it's kind of cool to see different, slogans and different words on each one. That makes it interesting. Well, so you could wear the same shirt for 10 days in a row, but have a different saying on it. So it's really not the same shirt.
Exactly. Well, in Teespring, Teespring is, I guess, made to order sort of thing. It's sort of like Amazon KDP.
Yeah.
So, there's no like real overhead costs, I don't think.
That's true. I have Teespring. Yeah, if you want to buy a $2 bill documentary t-shirt, it's on my YouTube channel. Yes. But that's another. So I have done that. I didn't think of that. You just make different. I didn't think of that. But I have no need for it anyway. But it's just interesting to see. It just caught me off guard.
It's a good thing to promote. What is your YouTube channel, by the way, just so people can?
Well, to get off topic, I made a documentary. You said I was a documentary filmmaker in that wonderful introduction. I made a documentary all about $2 bills. In fact, I have a fresh stack of them right here, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to go out and gonna use these to make my next, because I have a documentary film and then I have a YouTube channel based on the $2 bill. I've got like 60 other videos, and people always say, go out and see if they work at, not in vending machines, but at like Walmart, if they pay for, when you self-checkout. Yeah. So I got this stack last week, and the next mission for the next video I'm going to make on the channel is to start buying some, $3-4 items and then shove a bunch of 2s in there with the camera rolling and see if it takes. People love stuff. So that's what I'm, give them what they want. Anyway, the channel is a $2 bill documentary. I have a really cool logo, and there's t-shirts with the 2, which is like a transparent 2 with all images that are inside of it that are the film talks about. It's a really cool logo. I love it. So awesome. I have a t-shirt, and there's sweatshirts, and there's all sorts of stuff. And the channel's called the $2 bill documentary, TWO.
Cool.
You got to make search. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, if you search any $2 bill video on YouTube, just type $2 bill, you'll get a bunch of videos. Inevitably, half of them are mine, so you'll see it.
Yeah. You got to have some $2 bill underwear on your Teespring channel.
That's not a bad idea, and I should wear one night for the wife, and she's least expecting it, and just drop trow and have a 2 facing. 2 on the front or the back. I don't know which side it should be on.
That's right. There's $1 for both sides. John, I didn't say it was a good idea. I just said it's an idea.
I'm the kind of person that would pursue that. So you got to watch what you say to me.
It'd be really cool to like take your phone, right, and go to places. And maybe you did this in the. To be honest with you, I have not seen the $2 bill documentary yet. But if you were to record people like that are workers, right, cashiers, and you hand them a $2 bill. It's specifically target young people that have no idea that there is such a thing, and just kind of get the reaction, like the guy.
Yeah, we did that. I did. Well, the movie has so much content, and again, I don't want to get too much into it, although it is a cool topic. I mean, I've been on other shows for that, so it's good to talk about. But when I did the film, there were so many amazing stories. $2 bills have been on the moon, so I have that guy who's collects them, and a whole bunch of stories. I did run around and film them at fast food places and have a hidden camera. And it was great. It just didn't fit in the film. The film ended up having a lot more great content than I needed. So one of the videos I made for my YouTube channel, it was just footage I didn't use in the film. So I put together this little video about me going to fast food places, and it got millions of views. It's one of my most popular videos. And I kind of come off, I didn't mean it this way. I kind of come off obnoxious because I'm asking people, you're going to take my 2s? And I'm just trying to engage them and have fun with them. And people are, commenting, you're an a-hole. You're so obnoxious. I'm like, I'm just trying to engage people. I'm having fun. I mean, I'm just being me and having fun. And if that makes me an a-hole, then, I get no. But no, so we did it. And then some other videos I made specifically for the channel, I went like to pet stores, went to 10 pet stores, and I bought pet supplies and paid with all 2. So now I'm using 10, 15 of them instead of 2, 3 of them at a fast food place. And so there's all those reactions of people at the pet store who don't know they're being filmed and who are like amazed. And one of them says, I've got 3 at home and they're worth $1,000 each. I'm like, no, they're not. They're worth $2 each. So there's a great mix of videos there. And I try to keep the channel fresh and keep content going because I got 23,000 subscribers on there.
Yeah, awesome.
And that's the film, awesome. You definitely need to go watch it because I mean, it's not necessarily funny, even though the $2 bill is quirky, but it's a really entertaining film. And I think people say that it's always, they say surprised is what they say after they say, oh, I'm surprised. I think you could do 100 minutes on a $2 bill, and it was, really interesting. So anyway.
I haven't seen one in ages. How did the strippers respond when they saw one?
That's in the film too.
I knew it was. I knew it. That's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, there's a place in Portland that there's a few places across the country that use them exclusively, and the rationale is that hi, Michael Fisher, by the way. There's Michael Fisher just signed on and says hi to you guys. I love seeing these comments. Anyway, there's places that use them exclusively, and the girls like them because you get twice as much. Instead of throwing a dollar on the floor, you get a two. Right. And guys want to get rid of them because you go home with a stack of twos. Your wife goes, "Where were you?" And you get in trouble. So it is a part of it's truly a part of the $2 bill story, and that was the rationale I told my wife when she's like, "You went to a strip club in Portland?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be an authentic filmmaker here. I'm not going to leave it out. It is. I'm not even being sarcastic. It is a legitimate part of the $2 bill story that they're used in strip clubs. Have a unique appeal. So I wasn't going to leave it out of the film. Actually, I took it out of the YouTube version. So if you watch the film on YouTube, you won't see that because then they would have taken my revenue away on that. Right. But if you buy it on Amazon or watch it for $2 on Amazon, you'll see it. Anyway.
Yeah. Very cool. Very keen. I'd like to see. It'd be fun to have a video.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it.
A $2 bill in like the collection plate at church, going by and people just looking at like, what?
Stealing it out. Yeah.
Making change.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about the stack is I got it. I just went to the bank and I get it. And I'm not going to be able to see this, but the serial numbers are sequential. So it's 100 in a row, or 50 in a row. People are on eBay like selling $2 bills or selling sequential serial number $2 bills because it's like some rare thing. Like, first of all, the misconception is that they're rare. They're not. But then, wow, I've got 50 in a row with consecutive serial numbers. This block is worth so much more than $100. It's not. You can get them in straps at the bank all the time. Yeah. So this conception fuels the way people treat them, and then the way people treat them fuels the misconception even more. So it's like this unending cycle. It's kind of interesting.
Very cool. I'm just so surprised that they're still printing them.
They still make them. Yeah, they're still man. That's one of my YouTube videos, why they still print $2 bills. Wow. I'm here to hype the channel now. Forget the book, right?
I know, right? Whatever. Yeah.
I love it.
Because you don't have to buy anything. You just have to watch the video and maybe watch the ad for 5 seconds, and I generate a couple of cents in revenue. So go to the channel.
Yes. Go to John Bennardo's channel. Go to the $2 bill documentary channel. It kind of reminds me of that Family Guy joke where Quagmire is at the strip club and he asked if he can get stamps. I
haven't seen that, but no,
I haven't seen that episode.
Yeah, so I wonder, like, if you go up to the stripper at the strip club and you give her a $2 bill instead of a single, you'd be like, "Can I get stamps? Can I get stamps with that?" Like, it's probably a far more uncouth joke than we're really allowed to make on the Gosslings.
And I have a crazy story. The club that you probably will appreciate this. I don't know what's on or off topic on this show anymore, but I went to this club in Portland called Casa Diablo. The owner's name is Johnny Diablo. It's not his real last name, but it almost sounds crazy coming out of my mouth. It's a vegan strip club, and they serve. I kid you not. Go online and look it up. Casa Diablo in Portland, Oregon. They serve all vegan food. So hi, Jay Reese. She was on last time, or Jay Reese.
Yeah, Jay Reese.
So I went there, and I called in advance, and I had an interview. I was going to interview 1 or 2 girls and the owner. And the owner shows up, and he's he's probably sleeping with every girl there. He's one of those guys, big choochy guy, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll get some food. We'll get you a plate." So he sets me up with this plate of all veggie food, veggie mozzarella. Well, I guess mozzarella sticks are veggie anyway, but
vegan mozzarella,
vegan mozzarella, yeah. So he sets me up with this thing, and then he's telling me, "Well, girl, you go in the back. I'll just do every." No. I'm like, I'm not here for that. I said, first of all, I've got $4,000 of camera equipment that I'm toting around Portland. I'm not leaving it. Leave it in the kitchen. No, I'm not going to leave it in the kitchen. So you could set me up with a girl in the back. But he was like trying to get food, and then it was like I did it like 4 or 5 o'clock. We did the interviews, and I was leaving at 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock on like a Tuesday, the place was packed. I mean, it was insane, crazy. And I walked. I was like, I can't get out of here fast enough. It was just like unbelievable, the scene in this place. But vegan food, it was outrageous. Different part of the country, man.
Yeah,
there's a market for everything, I guess. At the end of the day,
that is not a place that would not succeed here in Middle Tennessee.
No. Well, maybe like East Nashville or like the Arts District in Columbia. You know, you go to like some of those artsy fartsy places, they could probably get away with a vegan strip club.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Well, he also, in fact, I think I have one. He also, let me see if I have one here. Hold on. He would, I do have them. So this is what he did do his $2 bills. He put red ink around them. I don't know how he did it, but all his $2 bills, I ended up walking out with 4 of them. He puts red ink around them because the place was Casa Diablo. He wanted it to look like I don't know, hell or blood. Right. And so that also ensured that, you know, you would know that you were a Casa. If you had a $2 bill with red on it, you would know that you were a Casa Diablo. But he would know that. Yeah. And the story is in the film. It's not on the YouTube version because I take it out for reasons I mentioned. But if you watch the actual film on DVD or what have you, he explains things that people thought that they were like stolen and like the powder off, you know, and that's why they were red. And the Secret Service was asking him to cease doing it. It's a really interesting story. I'm not going to get into the whole thing here, but they basically, he had FBI and Secret Service coming to a strip club telling him not to do this anymore because people were using these bills around town and vendors were thinking they were, you know, stolen and powder went off or a whole bunch of other things were going on with them. So, but I did keep 4 of them. I should probably auction these off. They're probably worth something now, but they all have they all have red ink on them. And these are the ones that are actually in the film.
Oh, wow.
So awesome.
That's cool.
It's like the secret handshake of Casa Diablo.
Yeah.
Yep. And they don't even use ones anywhere. There are no $1 bills in the register. Oh, really? The ATM machine, if you withdraw $100, they give you 52s. That's never seen an ATM do that. So it's quite an interesting place. If you guys ever go to Portland, let me know. We'll pop into Casa Diablo without $4,000 in camera equipment.
Well, first of all, no.
Okay.
That'll never happen. Me going to Portland.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what?
But I will. I'm down for a $2 bill.
You know what, John? Life is short. I'm in.
Good. Let me know. We'll plan a trip.
I mean, I hate Portland. Like
you had me until you said Portland.
But I would make an exception. I mean, I would make a Portlandian exception for.
I'll go to a strip club and preach the gospel. I'll wrap some Bible tracts in $2 bills, but just not in Portland. Wait. That's where I draw the line, God.
You just have to have a reason for going. You have to have I had a reason, otherwise I would never set foot in a place.
I'll go preach the gospel to the strippers. You know,
dude. Yeah, there's a ministry right there.
Yeah,
calling your name.
Yeah, Gigolo J Ministries from the Church of What's Cool. You know.
Oh no. You did not.
You may change the subject. In fact, I got 3 other things I wrote down during your preamble. I haven't got to, but we
moving on. Yeah, go for it, John. Save us from ourselves, please.
Did you have sponsors last time I was on? I think you did, right? Because I was almost impressed.
I don't know if we do anymore, but we did. I think we did last time.
Yeah.
Okay, just because I was like, oh, sponsors. Did they have sponsors last time?
Yeah.
And then you mentioned John Wick as being heavier like John Wick, and I said, oh, did you see the trailer for John Wick 4? Just came out this week.
I did. It looks cool. Yeah, dude. It looks awesome. And doesn't it make you think like they probably have like a 10 film series, like a whole thing lined up ahead of you know what I mean? Like
as long as there's more people to kill, they can keep making them.
That's right. Yeah. There's always somebody else, you know,
right?
Because it kind of like the new one kind of makes it seem like if he wins the duel against the guy, then you know he's absolved of his crimes. But then like, what if he becomes the head of the what's the organization? It's basically the Illuminati. Do they call it the Illuminati?
No, I forget. I just heard it because I watched the trailer. What is? I forget what it's called. The
DNC.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not
the
guess.
Whatever. Yeah. But like it kind of makes
the thing.
You. Yeah, the thing. It kind of makes you think that if he, you know, I could see them making another 3 or 4 films out of this plot line of like, okay, he absolves himself, but then what if he becomes the leader of the group and then he has to defend and then he has to do these other things? I mean, you could, you know, as a writer, you watch those trailers and you're like, oh, I can see.
High table. Thank you.
High table. Cool.
Yeah.
Mike
Thanks,
Fisher.
Mike.
Thank you.
Mike coming in. Yeah. Yeah. Those movies were, they were all coming out when I worked at the gun shops. And man, you have never seen so many people want a Benelli M4 shotgun and an HK P30L, you know, and 9mm. You know, whatever movie comes out that has cool guns, like you better have a bunch of them in your gun shop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, makes sense.
Or video games. That's the other one.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
And the movies are well done. I mean, they're choreographed, fantastic choreograph. And you know, my son's 15, and we weren't letting him watch R-rated movies. I guess we still don't, but that was the one we let him watch because we're like, we've seen blood and gore before. What's, you know, so those we let him watch, and he binged 3 of them. Excuse me, he binged all 3 when part 3 came out. So he'll probably we'll take him to see that one when it comes out.
Very cool.
Well, you're being more responsible about it than probably our dad was, because I saw Terminator 2
for
when
sure.
it first hit video, and I was like 10 years old. So, right,
that's nothing. There's nothing in it. My wife won't even let him watch like Mel Brooks, like Anxiety. You know, there's jokes that went over my head that I love. History of the World Part 1, Mel Brooks. I'm sure you've seen it. And there's a lot of jokes that I just didn't get when I was 12, 13 when it came out. And now I watch it go, oh, you know, I know the jokes. I go, oh, I didn't get that one for 15 years. I just didn't, you know, so many sexual innuendos. So I'm like, he's not gonna get those jokes. He can watch it for the slapstick and the silliness, but whatever, you know, different parenting styles.
Yeah,
I love reading your comments too. So Mama Shay says she loves Mel Brooks, and Mike says, remember that where our name came from, Jardani Jovanovic from the Tide movie. It's not a typo. Speaking of typos,
from the John Wick, and John Wick's real name is Jardani Jovanovic.
Oh no, that's right. Okay, I forget that. Right.
Yep. Yeah. And which is the inspiration behind the line that we sponsor, that Mike sponsors. He's our sponsor. We sponsor it. He sponsors it.
We
showcase our sponsors' product.
Sure.
Jardani.
Yes.
Nice save, Nick. Nick had a long winter's
trying to figure out how all the things
today.
work. And what words go in what part of the puzzle.
Words are hard sometimes.
It's a long week, folks.
Sometimes the words, they don't come out so good.
Yeah, I get my words mixed up.
Anyways. Yeah.
There's your next logo. I get my merds mixed up, whatever you just said.
I get my merds mixed up.
A spoonerism.
Right.
Yeah.
Send me that one too.
Okay. Let's talk about Just a Typo.
Yeah.
We've talked about the book. The last 2 times you've been on, we've talked about your book. Great book. Read the book. Great. Yeah. But recently you have launched the audiobook.
Yeah.
I purchased and listened to.
Me too.
The audiobook.
Yeah.
Just finished.
That's 2 sales right there. Look at that.
That's 2 sales. Hey, we got you back. We got you back. He was great.
Do I owe you for the shirt to pay? What's
Yeah, you can send that one back. Thanks.
Okay, I'll send it back. Yeah.
You don't have to wash it first. I'll take it.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, he's got a thing.
No, it was so great. Tell us about, first of all, tell us about your narrator.
Yeah.
His voice.
Yeah, I was gonna, before I do, did you think he was right for the part?
I thought he was you when I was
No, it wasn't me.
I know it wasn't you, but he sounded like you. It sounded like you telling the story.
Yeah.
He did it so well.
He's reading my words, but it wasn't me. He's a okay, so his name is Kane Peterson. I don't know if Kane's his real name, but that's his radio name. He was on a radio, I think it was 92.3 in New York. He had what became a nationally syndicated show, kind of like the Elvis Duran show, but they were in the markets where Elvis Duran wasn't. And they ended up on 104.3, The Shark, down here in South Florida. And I only listened to that for 15 minutes driving to work in the morning. So I got to know them and listen to them. And I'm searching for an audiobook. I'm not sure how I'm going to get a narrator without paying thousands and thousands of dollars. And it just so happened, I told the story on their show because I went on to promote the book. And I'm driving to work, and I just turned the channel on, and he happens to say something like, God, I would love to do an audiobook. Like, that's something I really would love to do. And I just went, oh my God, because I'd heard his voice so often that I said, his voice is perfect because he's got a terrific radio voice. Yeah. And I'm the main character in novels, a game show host. You have to have some type of professional sounding voice, but he also, he's not clever, but he plays dumb well. I'll play the idiot in the show once in a while, and say his level, like, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Excuse the expression. That he's not only got a good voice, he plays silly well. And I was like, oh, I have to text. The only way to reach him is to text the show. And I'm driving to work going, if I don't text the show like right now, I'm going to forget, because I'm over 50 now. I'm going to get to work and it's out of my head completely. So I literally, I think I Siri'd myself a reminder for 5 minutes from now. I got to work, I pulled over, and I texted the show, and I said, hey, and he got back to me a day later, says, I'd love to do it. And we started to communicate, and, he was cheap, which helped. He was, he wasn't some 5,000. He'd never done it before. He was just happy for the opportunity. Him and I split profits. That was part of the deal. And he did a couple sample reads, and boom. I mean, he did the whole thing. It was terrific. Awesome. And there's some funny stories along the way, but that's how I found him. He's a radio DJ who's now, they ended up getting off the air. They got fired, and they do their own podcast, and it's called the Kane and Corey, Corey, the Kane and Corey podcast. They're funny. You can find it on all your major platforms. They have it's paid subscription, but they have free shows every Wednesday. And the show I was on a Wednesday. If you do want to listen to that show, you could go back and find it. I think it was mid-October. But he was great. He was really easy to work with. He's funny. He was so self-conscious, though. He just really wanted to please me. He must have read chapter 1 like 15 times. I'm not even kidding. I said, look, just like he wanted to get it right. And if he thought he botched a word, he'd go back and change it. I said, look, you never read it the way I envision it. I have to trust the person I hired is going to do it his way. And so once he had the confidence that just be you and do it, and if I think something's off, I'm not going to make you reread every other line. Just do. And then he started getting into it, and I said, skip 1 and 2, just keep going, and then once you feel for the character, go back and read 1 and 2 again, and that's what he did. And so it worked out really well. You've heard the book, you think it was funny. He hit on the right places, and I've got what I feel is a really quality audiobook now for my writing.
In the audiobook, Mo Riverlake makes parodies, makes song parodies. Yep. And when Kane was reading those parodies, he would actually sing them. And
that's a story too.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask if there was a story behind that. Tell me what that was like.
Yeah, so he's actually said on his own show, I haven't heard it, that he doesn't sing. I guess this is a running thing on the show that he doesn't sing. So he's doing my thing, and I'm listening every chapter as he submits them, and he didn't sing some of the lyrics. And I got on the phone. I said, you gotta, it's like, I don't want to ask him too much. I don't want to piss him off, but he's like, you gotta sing this, because one of the things is, he writes all these song parodies, and some of them are parodies when I was a kid, mostly dirty. But then there's a part that I made up specifically, and part of what the book is, for those who don't know, the guy writes a typo tweet and ends up offending the LGBTQ accidentally, of course, because it's a typo, and then people start coming down on him, and then everything he's ever done in his life comes back and is dredged up, and now is offensive. Everything. So, as I go back and tell the story of how he went to Hollywood and everything, one of the things he did was he played some clubs, some small comedy bits, and sang his funny songs, and a lot of them are now back and getting him in trouble after the tweet. So one of them was at a birthday party he had 4 friends, and they were teasing him. They did a thing with him for his 40th birthday, and he made up a song. He changed the lyric to Lovely the Band's These Are My Friends. And you guys know the song, These Are My Friends. These are my friends. Okay, so he sings a verse about each of his friends. One of them's Hispanic. One of them's, like a superhero geek. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and so the lyrics are just, again, if you're good friends with somebody, you can tease them, and you can call them, you can make fun if they're Jewish. I have a good friend of mine who's Jewish from the University of Miami, and I tease him, and I do make Jewish jokes all the time, which would other people but between him and I, he makes Italian jokes on my expense, and we think it's great. It's a sign of endearment in that situation.
It is. It's a love language between men.
Right. We know each other. He knows I'm not offending Jews. I'm just using it. It's funny, and he's Italian.
It's funny.
All right. So this is what the guy does in the story. He sings a verse of These Are My Friends about each of his 4 people who each happen to have specific stereotype, nationalities or what have you. And it's funny, and it's between friends, and it's very, very loving. Well, after the typo and the shit hits the fan, the songs end up getting dredged up, and now they're horrifically offensive. Okay, so the point is he read the lines out loud, and the narrator did. And I can listen to it. It just doesn't work, because he's at a party. He's got all his friends there, and it just rhythm, and he's got to sing the song. And he doesn't listen to that kind of music, so he wasn't even familiar with it. So I sang it to him over the phone, and I said, you gotta try it. So he did. He sang all the lyrics. Then there's another one at the end, which is a callback, and then there's a couple other songs, Mike and the Mechanics. All I need is a miracle. We changed the lyrics to All I need are some testicles. All I need are 2. All I need are testicles. All I need are 2. So I said, you got to sing that. It's not fun if you don't sing it. He's reading it. So he, sucked it up and sang what he was supposed to sing, and it
pushed him out of his comfort zone, didn't you?
Yeah. So did you? listen to that. You heard him. You got to the point of the audiobook. And what did you think? Worked?
Yeah, I thought it worked. I thought it worked beautifully. He can sing. He can hold a tune. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
You know, he's somebody who's like, I don't sing. But then when he's actually forced to do it, he can actually carry a tune. He's not saying it for good reason. He's not saying I don't sing for good reason. He can't
sing, right? But that makes it funnier to me because the main character probably can't either. Mo Riverlake can't sing, so if it comes off as being bad singing, it makes it even funnier that here's this guy. It'd be like if I sang. I mean, I can't sing for crap, but excuse me. If I had to sing one of my old songs that I wrote, parodies, I would be bad, but it would be funny. It's still funny,
right?
Yeah. So that was one of the stories.
It fits the character, and it's funny because he can't necessarily, you know, quote unquote sing. Like it works contextually, you know. But he was great at it.
Like, he performed it very well.
Yeah,
he performed it very well. Yeah, and people will like
and
it.
And well, he everything I mentioned about what I thought he would be good, he did well. He played the idiot well. I was very pleased, and you know, and not only that, but just as a side thing, I mean, he's got an audience, so I was like, well, not only he talks about it on his show a bunch. So there's always, you know, he's promoting it because he gets some of the proceeds. So there's every reason for him to try to sell it. It's not just me, you know, on my own island trying to get it out there.
Yeah, he can tell his audience, hey, if you do want to hear me sing, you got to buy this audiobook.
Yeah,
that's exactly. Yeah, in fact, we sent a bunch to the show when I was on the show, and we held that back. And I don't know if you saw the Instagram clip put up, which I think was him talking about just that. I think you liked it, actually.
I think so.
There was a clip from the show where he talked about having to sing, and his co-host was like, "What? You have to sing?" And then we didn't play it because they're like, "Oh, people have to buy it. Very clever. You're not going to let them hear it unless you buy it. Otherwise, why do it?"
Right? Yeah. Then you let the cat out of the bag. You know?
Yeah. There's a lot of fun. It's nice to have a book on the market, and then it's just also nice now to know that you can get it in, you know, paperback, Kindle, or get an audiobook, because some people are audiobook readers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I get a lot of friends who, you know, they're guys who work by day, either, you know, doing manual labor, or they're doing, you know, they're running a business or something, and they want that, you know, they want that decompression time when they're driving to or from a job site or the office or something, or they're doing a road trip. Like I got a friend who, you know, will drive out to Texas to transport like gear that he sells to, you know, law enforcement or you know, military or whatever. And so a lot of windshield time.
Yeah,
you know?
A lot of windshield
and
time.
They don't read like paperbacks, you know. You have to, you know, this as awesome. Like I love paperbacks because I have to concentrate. So like I can't read this in a grocery or a cafe. I have to like sit down and dive into it. But those guys, because they can multitask better, they can drive and just listen to the audiobook. And it happened. Your book, John, Just a Typo, was the first time where I ever had that happen, where I was so busy I didn't have time to like sit down and actually, you know, reread the book and dive back into it. I just let the audiobook play while I'm going on doing like 3 different jobs throughout the 2 or 3 weeks.
Terrific.
And it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was exactly
I'd
what
love to hear that.
Yeah, I drive into the office twice a week, and I got like a 6 hour. That's like 6 hours of driving every week, just those 2 trips.
Yeah.
So I can knock out an audiobook pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think mine's about 6. I think mine's 6 hours. I think it's
6.5 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, which is pretty good because it estimated 9 and it came out at 6. So excuse me.
Oh, that's awesome.
No problem.
Yeah, no, I got a friend who he listened to the entire Dune series, an audiobook, go back and forth to work every day when we worked at the gun shop.
Wow.
You know, they'd be like, "Dude, I'm on Children of Dune. You know, I'm on God Emperor Dune. You know, Duke Leto is awesome. He's back." You know,
it's been a while since we've had a Dune reference from you, bro. It's been a while. It's been a couple episodes.
I was itching for it. So what can I say? You know, look, you just can't beat.
You were blue duning it.
I was. You suck, dude. That's such a me joke. How could you? Dune is one of the greatest cultural achievements of all time. Not the least of which is because of its absurdity. You know, like
it is cool though,
dude. Ageless Patrick Stewart. He looks the exact same. You know, and plus, where else are you going to get Battle
Pug?
Yeah,
yep.
You know,
I never saw the first one. I'm never seeing the second one. It just doesn't interest me. It's not my thing.
Yeah. It's so even even if you're, I mean, I guess you got to be a sci-fi fan to like really, and maybe that particular kind of science fiction to be into it. But even if you're not, like, there are so many absurd moments in it. It's such a high order 80s David Lynch big budget movie, Dino De Laurentiis production. It's like the Waterloo of sci-fi movies, basically. And there's really like absurd quotable lines from it. And Toto did the soundtrack, so it's so bizarre.
Toto. Oh yeah. Well, science fiction. I've tested the reins. I know. Science fiction in general is kind of corny, but if you do it, it's one of those things. If you do it right, it's Star Wars is science fiction, but if you really break that down, it's corny as heck. I mean, science fiction by its nature, in my opinion, is fairly ridiculous because you're just making stuff up. You can do it in a way that's really compelling. I definitely give credit to those who do it well, but it's just, hey, make up your own world and make up your own rules. And that's I guess, I mean, I don't do it, so I can't knock the people that write good science fiction, but it's hard to get into it. Like, oh, what's going to happen when the stellar planet reaches alignment with lunar 6? I don't give a shit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't care. Also, not real.
Right? It's not real. I tell people all the time, if it takes place in today's world in America, I don't want to watch it. Like, I'm not going to watch Game of Thrones.
Nice.
That's actually character says that in just a typo. Mo Riverlake says that because they ask him about he wanted to watch Marvelous Miss Maisel and goes, as soon as I saw the girl with the rotary phone, I couldn't watch anymore because it's a rotary dial phone. If I want movies that take place today, that could happen right now outside my front door or in some major city with people I know, with tech that I know. I'm not going to watch some Renaissance stuff from the 1700s, people talking in British accents. That's just not, I grew up on Disney with Kurt Russell, the strongest man in the world. Remember all those movies at the Shaggy DA? That's how I grew up. So I'm not watching. So science fiction, you really got to win me over to get me to watch a good science fiction movie.
Kurt Russell.
Well, let's talk about something that you.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say,
is Minority Report. No, all right, I'm going to stop. You talk.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a delay there. There's a little audio issue. Sorry, but I was going to bring up something that you were interested, something that you are into, that you do like, that we know. Have you yet seen? I don't even know if it's out yet, but have you watched Weird, the Al Yankovic story?
That's the fourth thing on my list when you guys were talking before I came on, because you mentioned he's a Weird Al fan, and I wrote down, I wonder if they've seen the movie. Yeah, I did, and I'm sure you guys have too. I watched it last week on Friday night, I think. And
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. Tell me about it. Spoil it for me.
Okay, so what I thought it wasn't. And so I was disappointed because I was expecting one thing and it went off on a totally different. It's apparently, and I read this the other day, it's the story of Weird Al as made up by Weird Al. So it's like him, you see him in college and his parents, and he becomes this parody star. But then it just goes off on this crazy thing. And there were scenes I didn't realize they were scenes that were parodying other movies. And I'm like, what's going on? Next thing you know, they're shooting up military people in a bunker. I'm like, this taking the Weird Al. Like, what is this? Like, it started out like his real story, which I was interested in. The way he first sang My Bologna with his college dorms and recorded it in a bathroom. That's all true. And then a bunch of stuff happened that was like, he has this whole relationship with Madonna, sexual. And I figured maybe they had and then he said he didn't. But it just went and I wasn't expecting that kind of a film. So when these scenes came up, I was like, what is this? Where's this thing going? Him and Madonna are shooting guerrilla warfare people in the jungle. What is this? So I was sitting there and I'm almost like, I'm going to turn this off. But now I see it's like Weird Al just saying, this is what my life was, and then we're gonna just go off and make it a parody. There was a scene where he's yelling at people on stage. He's doing a live performance, and I didn't realize till later. I read somewhere else it was a takeoff on another movie with Jim Morrison with Val Kilmer. It was a parody of the scene where he takes his shirt off on stage. I never saw it. The Doors. I never saw the movie. So that was a parody of that movie, and I didn't know that. So I'm looking at it going, what are you doing? Like, this is true? You were yelling at the audience at a show with your shirt off and Madonna's in the back coaching? Like, what are you doing? So anyway, the long and short of it is I did not. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it now because I didn't get it. Half I thought was great, and then I was like, this is turning really bad really fast.
Yeah.
So, but now you know the difference.
That's kind of what I gathered from the trailers. Kind of made it seem like that at first, but then when you start hearing people talk about it, you realize that it's like a meta version of what Weird Al does. He's parodying, all of these rockumentaries that have been coming out, whether it's the Queen one or, you know what I mean? Like,
and it's, now I see that's a great way to put it.
It's like the cinematic version of what he has been doing for the past like 30 years in music.
Yeah. I mean, Weird Al takes something that everyone something recognizable and then turns it into something that
is awesome.
And in this case, it was his own story. Hey, everyone, this is my story. I'm just going to go ahead and make a movie about that and totally turn it into something it's not.
And I feel horrible that I just missed that completely. I did not know that's what it was. And I never figured out that that's what it was. So shame on me.
Well, but you know what? Like, that's one of the reasons why I haven't made time to watch it yet, John, is because like that concept doesn't seem all that appealing to me necessarily. I could be wrong. It could be a really enjoyable experience for me. But when I think about, how different that is from UHF, I will, to my dying day, proclaim one of the greatest feats of cinematic history.
I'll drink to UHF.
To UHF.
UHF.
Yeah.
Plus, she didn't have Harry Potter in it.
Yeah, no kidding. But like,
he should do a Potter parody.
Tell me, John, was Weird Al involved in Weird the Al Yankovic?
Yeah, he's actually in it. He plays another role. He plays the role of a music studio agent who turns down Weird Al. So he was funny in it, and he just had a different moppy hair. It was him right away, and that was funny. I enjoyed it up until it went off the rails. I mean, it was kind of his story. I was more interested in like his story, like how he was
right.
And in fact, in the movie, and this isn't a spoiler, but in the movie, there was an argument about whether Fat came out before Bad. And there was this claim that and I'm like, there's no way. I said you parodied the video, and so the whole running gag in the movie was that Bad was actually stolen from Weird Al. Fat, and that he copied it. And
that's clever. I like that.
This is early enough in the film. Yeah, it's clever now, but at the time, it was early enough in the film, and I hadn't figured it out. Of course, I'm like, no,
yeah, that's absurd.
Like, what? Yeah, there's just no way. Just didn't have my head was. I'm embarrassed. Like I just got totally duped, and I just didn't get it. But anyway.
Well, and I think that's probably the joke is funny. It's sort of like Freddy Got Fingered, the movie that what's his face Tom Green did back in the late 90s. It's it's an absurdist parody of something else that's already existing. But I think like for those of us who are like legit Weird Al fans, you want like a legit Weird Al rockumentary. Like, I would be legitimately interested in seeing what Weird Al's journey really was, not him fighting the Sandinistas, with Madonna.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not here for that. I want to see, like, tell me about what it was really like, but maybe it was really boring. Like, maybe that's, I don't know. Yeah. But
well, check it out. I mean, it'd be interesting to hear what you think once you've seen it. But I just, like I said, for the 8th time, I missed the boat on it. Didn't like the second half of it, and wish it was something different. I was hoping for something different, and I just didn't get it. But whatever. I watched it. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah. Well, but UHF was such a great movie, though. I mean, UHF was adorable. It was cute. It was fun. It was well intentioned, good hearted, and it had like a normal like 3-act story structure, that you could clearly tell was obviously a fictional movie where he's just parodying all his. It's kind of like the original Family Guy, like he's parodying all of his favorite little things, whether it's Indiana Jones or Close Encounters, and it was just fun.
It's a masterpiece, all the different things he comes up with in that one movie. It's a master. I mean, and it's clean enough for my kids. And they were hooked. Man, I listened to Fat way more than I listened to Bad. I listened to Eat It way more than I listened to Beat It.
Right.
When you see Michael Jackson's video for bad, or if he happens to come on the radio, I sing the fat lyrics to myself. I mean, I'm not singing bad. I'm singing fat. I can't help but think of it. And it was just the greatest. So many little subtle things in that video that are perfect. You know, when he's going, woo, then he holds up the little woo, you know, cartoon, just little tiny things he did that I think sometimes get lost. In fact, it's me think I'm just started watching. I've never even heard of this show before until like something else. It's called The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Heard that show?
Oh yeah, I've heard about
Tina
that.
Fey. Did you ever watch it?
I didn't.
No,
I never knew about it. I read about it in something else recently. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was a comedy from Tina Fey. Let me check this out on Netflix. I watched the first season over the last month. I mean, just really wit and silly and funny. And if you're not paying attention, boy, the jokes just they go right by you. Yeah. But it's so well written from a comedy perspective. It's just so silly and stupid. Which I love. I mean, I love silly and stupid. I try to with the hope of putting this book. I mean, it's smart, silly. I'm not just silly for the sake of being silly. Smartly done, silly.
Well, she was probably involved in the writing of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I really like Tina Fey. She's hilarious.
Yeah. But there are, you know, once they establish who the characters are, every line plays off insecurities and their frailties, and just little thing like Jane Kowski plays this rich, you know, woman vain, who Kimmy Schmidt goes to work for, and it was just a line that stuck out. And she goes, first thing in the morning, she's like, "Oh, did you sleep all? Are you wake up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed?" And Jane Krakowski goes, "No, I had that lasered." And then they keep and it keeps going like there's no pause, there's no wink at the audience. She goes, "No, not anymore. I had that lasered." And you go, if you're not paying attention, you're like, "That's funny." It's just with the character. And I'm just thinking of writing it. It's just so smart, and they don't pay any. Like I said, no wink. Like Naked Gun to the point where they would have a reaction of somebody going, you know, or just turn to the camera going. But this just keeps going. And if you're not paying, my wife tried to watch half an episode. She doesn't like that kind of humor. And I'm like, I'm laughing. She's like, I don't know what you're laughing at. I'm like, you got to pay attention. I said, every other line is great. You know, like when I wrote my book, I say, if this is going to be a comedy, there has to be at least a laugh on every page. If I go 2-3 pages without a laugh, I got to go back. And the show is the same. Like, it's a comedy. If there's 2 minutes without something funny, they've done something wrong. So, you know, you get a couple of meaningful dialogue, character reveals, but then there's always going to be a joke in there somewhere. So anyway, it's worth a watch. I mean, I'm going to start watching season 2.
Cool.
That's how I always felt about any sort of industry comedies or industry satires like 30 Rock and Tropic Thunder. Like those are great IPs just because they are lampooning all the stuff behind the scenes that you almost kind of have to be like an industry insider or a aficionado to really, you know, to really get. Like, yeah, I mean, Tropic Thunder is a massively underrated movie, I think. And 30 Rock, Tina Fey, intellectual property, genius,
great show,
absolute genius. You know,
and the jokes come fast and furious. Every line is something funny. Every line is perfect to the character. It makes fun of them in some way. And it's terrific. I'm just looking at some of the comments. Jay Reese says, take us through my writing process.
Yeah,
especially as a humor writer.
Okay, well, let me think.
Are you like Weird Al? Because Weird Al said that he sticks his foot in a shoe with a piece of raw liver in it, and that's how he gets his inspiration. He said that in an interview like 30 years ago.
No, I don't do that.
Okay, well, we tried.
Well, here's the thing: is I think I told you guys on a previous show, I was a screenwriter. I was a prose writer as a kid, and I went to graduate school. I went to college and liked film, and so then I love movies and I love writing. So I started writing movies. So I wrote screenplays, and I didn't write prose for a long time unless I was something short. So I wrote screenplays for a while, and one of them I almost sold. You know, I think I told you that story. I almost got into business with something that I wrote. And so I had this idea for just a typo, but I didn't have it as a prose. I was going to write it as a script. And I was like, maybe I'll shoot this as a documentary, a fake documentary, because the $2 bill one is not funny. It was funny because it wasn't funny, as I usually am. I kept it serious. So I got to do something fun. So I had this idea about a typo, and I was going to have it all be interviews with people. And so everything you read in the book was going to be people talking about, you know, what happened to this game show host. And that's how I was going to tell the story. And I was like, okay, well, first of all, when you write a screenplay, I've done this too many times. You got to outline it. You got to just, it takes time before you can write, like maybe 6 months before you put writing. So I said, I just want to free write this. I said, the guy's going to have a typo tweet. He's going to get arrested. Then we're going to go back and learn about his life. And at the end of the story, I knew what the end was. I knew nothing in between. So to answer Jay Reese's question, my writing process was sit down, just have a good time. Just go. Whatever silly thing you can think of, just write it down. Digress as much as you want. And, there's lots of times where the character digresses and something's happening and he tells a story about when he snuck out on his bikes when he was a teenager, which I did. And it's amazing that when I go back and look at the way that book lines up, I would think as a casual observer, you would say, have to have planned all that. There's no way that those ducks lined up so perfectly. But just, you're right. You get to page 60 and you remember what happened on page 10. I could use that here and you put it in there. If I were to sit and outline that, I would never have been able to do that because I don't know what's going to happen on page 60, at least in minute detail. I know the beat, but I don't know the little detail. I don't know what the character's idiosyncrasies are because I haven't written him. So even the character of Barry, like I didn't know he was going to do that till I made him do it. I didn't know Lexi was going to be a grammar Nazi. I was going to make the main character Mo a grammar Nazi. And it never fit in. There was too many things. So then I made Lexi a grammar Nazi. And then, that opened up doors. So the answer is I kind of just made it up as I went along, trusting my instincts and knowing that if there were some incongruities, I could fix them.
Yeah.
And, again, you read it and you go, wow, this thing was perfectly structured. You must have planned this for months. No, I didn't. I just free wrote it.
That's crazy. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Jay Reese says you have a schedule. I was lucky because I was self-employed at the time. I do video work for people, corporate video shoots. And my wife works during the day. My son goes to school. So there were a lot of days where nobody was home until 3. And for whatever reason, I have a hard time writing when there's people home because every 5 minutes someone's coming in the door, wants something. My door's closed now. I'm surprised nobody's knocking on it yet. The wife and kid are home. But I just, for whatever reason, mentally, it's hard to focus when I know I can't just zero in. So my writing schedule is, when am I home alone? when do I have peace? And then if I don't have peace, close the door, make sure they're watching a movie tonight. Okay, good. Go in the other room, close the door, and write. And some nights you write 8 pages and they're brilliant. And some nights you write 2 pages and you go back and forth over and over again. And you go to sleep knowing, well, the 2 pages suck, but at least I got something to go back and fix and work on tomorrow. So it's hard to say what the schedule is. Just keep on going. My philosophy is with any project, it's going to take X number of hours. I don't know what X is. It could be 500 hours. It could be 260. I don't know what X is.
Yeah.
You can only do it and knock one off at a time until you reach that number. Get it done. So you just work on it whenever you can, and you know that this hour is credited towards getting it done and is needed to complete the process. I hope that answers your question, Jay Reese, and I hope I'm not blabbing too much. But that's how I do it. Just sit down and just frickin' do it.
Yeah, I love that. That's I have the same sort of process with all of my books where it's kind of been that same thing of pantsing it. They call pantsing it. You just fly by the seat of your pants, and it's like you have an idea of what you want. You have an idea, and then you try to figure out, okay, I could have this character be this. I could have this character be this. And you have all these ideas. I even have like a giant dry erase board. But like really, the process, no matter how much I try to plan, always ends up being the same as yours, John, where it's just like the best thing to do is just sit down and just free form, free flow, just start writing and just see what sort of comes out of you. Because a lot of times if you don't do that, you get in the way of what Pressfield calls the muse, the inspiration, you get in the way of the process because you're second guessing yourself. But if you just like let it go, and then when you're done, you can go back and edit and tweak, and do all that kind of stuff. Do you wait until you're done to do an edit, or do you edit like chapter by chapter? Or
that's problem. I like to read a little bit of what I wrote before I write the next day because it gets me into the rhythm and the voice. I have to like get that voice back.
Yeah.
And then reading what I wrote, I inevitably edit. So the first hour is not weighted, but the first hour is usually fixing and correcting. And for me, I have a hard time going forward unless I know what happened before was right. Because like you said, I can spit the whole thing and then go back and fix it. But if I took a wrong turn on page 40 and I keep going, when I go back and fix page 40, I got to fix 40 to 300 because now
everything in
it's all
between.
So I go back and I fix and I fix and I fix and I make it right. And then sometimes I totally revise something, get a new idea, and then it sets me off. The scene with the family that he lives with, the Yugoslavian family,
Serbian family,
Serbia, right?
Baghdad.
I totally like. Okay, so he's gonna go live with a family, and I made them Serbian. And I researched, Serbian expressions, which is where I got that stuff right off the Google. When he greets them with the expression that sounds like "Meet Ivan Drago," so that joke comes from that it sounds like "Meet Jago Meet Jay." I think is the. Anyway, I had no idea what was going to happen in that scene until I literally started writing it.
That's
and
great.
The 15-year-old daughter in the bunk bed. I mean, it just came out as I wrote it. And these lines and I start laughing and go, okay, it works. Now, the irony is the punchline of the whole thing is we're going to talk about this. I think we're going to start running out of time soon, but I am writing a screenplay now. And again, without getting into a lot of detail, I wrote a script back in the day that almost sold to Hollywood, and I mentioned the story on another podcast, and the host says that would be a great Netflix series. So I'm trying to convert it into a pilot episode right now. Nice. I'm having the worst time though. April, I started taking some notes, and I said, April, I'm going to write. I'll be done with this in a month or two. I'll have a draft. First week of June, I can start shopping a pilot. I'm still back to square one. I think I've solved it, but I can't sit and write it like I can a novel because scripts are it's a different animal. I can't just start writing it because you're going to go down one wrong path. The bottom falls out in a bigger way. You have to outline it, and it's killing me. Like I can't solve it until I solve it in my head, but I can't solve it in my head until I put it on paper, and I put it on paper until I solve it. So I almost, as a colleague of mine who's asked me about it, and I bounce ideas off, and I kind of said to him, I should just sit down and this as a book first, like even not a book that I would publish, I should just sit down and start writing, like in prose, what happens, and let it take me somewhere, and then, that's how I'm going to solve the problem, and then go back and write the screenplay. Yeah. But I think I figured it out, but it is a totally different animal. You have to plan it because you just can't do, it's hard to explain, but you can't do in prose what you can do in screenwriting and vice versa. It doesn't work for me anyway.
Yeah. Scripts are a whole different animal.
I've never tried to write one.
I wrote 2 or 3.
And you have to do it, especially in a pilot, you have to establish characters instantly. You have to get the audience interested. If you don't have it in 10 pages, whoever's reading it, throws it in the next pile. You got to have conflict, characters. You have to set up a series that's give you 100 episodes. You got to set up a scenario that allows you to tell story after story, week after week, and you have to be efficient. And you can't. In a book, you can go off on a tangent. You can't do it in a screenplay. How do I communicate that this is the way this person is? Half a page,
right, with
an action or a look or something, and you've got to know all those things before you can start writing. Anyway, so that's what I'm struggling with right now. If you want to ask about my next project, I'm going to adapt my old screenplay from 1996 into a modern day pilot episode that might be, a Netflix or streaming show somewhere.
That is so much tougher. With a novel, you have all the prose and exposition you could ever want. With a movie, you have 90 minutes to 120, maybe 150 minutes if you're really indulgent, 2.5 hours. But, and you have to cram a lot in there, but you're telling a pretty concise story, Well,
TV pilot's 45 pages, maybe 50 tops.
Yeah. But with a series, whether it's a mini series, which is just a long form movie, 10 episodes like Band of Brothers or Babylon 5 or, something like that, or like Fringe, or a more long form TV show like X-Files, which you can go for multiple seasons, or Friends or something, you have to really plan out a huge swath in advance. And man, the stakes for being able to write that, and how do you keep it interesting over 100 episodes? Dude, that's a high risk, tall order. That is a tough job, John. We admire
if you watch a pilot, I've been watching a lot and studying a lot and seeing how they do it. There are some shows where you could hit the pause button 5 to 7 minutes in the show and ask yourself what you know and what you've learned already. Am I already really interested in what's happening? And it's amazing if you really stop and break it down, like where they are on page 5.
Yeah.
Like I'm already invested in what this guy's. I'm wondering what's going to happen to him. 5 minutes. It takes 5 minutes, and and there's 3 scenes in those 5 minutes, and you've met 2-3 characters, and the situation is set up, and you're invested on page 5. And I can do it. I mean, I know I can do it. I'm getting there, but it's a lot different, even than writing a screenplay. And I was trained in writing screenplays, not pilots.
Yeah.
So it's been a slap in the face, and I thought, I'm just going to convert this into everything about the story of the movie that I wrote has got to be different. Everything about it. It's about a guy. It's about a revenge for a guy that was a revenge for hire business, which was done. And again, this is another one. I wrote this script, and it went out in Hollywood and didn't sell. But then 3 years later, a really horrible movie with Norm Macdonald called Dirty Work. When I was the first person to see that movie the day it opened because I thought it was stolen from me. And it was a lot more juvenile than mine, but it had similar elements. Politician was the bad guy. The friend character was very similar. Maybe someone heard or read my script and then nobody bought it. And then someone, went to the studio and says, I'll write a version. And they had their own idea. So I don't know what happened, but it made me comfortable
solidarity, John. Yeah. Solidarity. Yeah.
So anyway, turning it into a weekly show now it's okay. So, Revenge for Hire, because that'd be a great weekly show, but everything has to change. It's not one guy. It's a team. It's not a business at the beginning. There's got to be ongoing sticks. It can't just be, someone hires us this week and it's not the A team, when someone goes and hires you. And so I've had to change. It's not really about a guy that opens a Revenge for Hire business anymore. It's totally, it's different. The name of the show is the same. The name of the show, the movie was called Troublemaker, and the name of the show is called Troublemakers with an S because it's a group, but they're not really in the Revenge for Hire business, although they are involved with fucking with people for other reasons. It's totally different. Awesome. It's not Revenge for Hire. It's just people causing trouble for others who deserve it. But there's a reason why they do it, and there's consequences, and there's stakes, and get me going, man. So anyway, I'm butting up on that one.
No, I'm absolutely in love.
I think it would be a great show if I can nail it. It's the kind of the reason you would watch.
Oh, not real life. No. Right.
The reason you would watch the show is because he does to other people what you wish you could do to other people. Like when you see someone doing something wrong, you wish you could say this to them. He's the kind of person that would say it or would do it. Yeah. And so that's really, I think, what's going to hook people and make them why. What's he going to do next? Like, what are they going to do to this people, this guy, and that woman, and that organization? Troublemakers. Yeah, one word, Michael Fisher with an S at the end. Don't steal it, please. Well, don't steal it. Don't steal it.
John Bennardo
far enough ahead. Yeah. Once I settle one couple issues that I'm dealing with, it'll write fast now because I have it, and the outline is almost there. A couple of specifics, but that's the project I'm working on, and hopefully, it gets some push in the TV industry. What can you do?
Awesome.
It deserves it. I can't wait to.
Yeah. Best of luck with that, man.
Years it'll happen. Yeah. So I know we're on the other side of the hour. So we definitely have a couple of questions. Nick had a really good one. We both kind of had the same question, but I'll let Nick go ahead and take reins. Getting back to Just a Typo.
Yep. Yeah. You guys got to wrap up.
Yeah. It's about a game show host that makes who sends out a tweet. There's a typo, and it has the opposite effect of what he was hoping it would. And of course, he's totally canceled. Yeah. And then there's a whole series of things that happen after that. But because this is a satire of cancel culture, have you had anybody that's read the book or part of the book, and they got offended? Have you gotten
not that I've heard? No, nobody's written me and said "F you." And again, I'm sorry, I used a few
no
words.
Hurt feelings yet.
Am I allowed to use better? I'm just freely using the S and F bombs. Nobody really has. I think they get it. I think they get that I'm not really offending people. I'm telling you a story about how people get offended.
Yes.
And this is how you get offended, by saying this and doing that. And I have to say it. I have to make the stereotype against Asian people, for example. I have to have the character do this to show you that he didn't mean it, and it's not really racial, but he gets flagged for it. So I don't think but not that I know of. I mean, if someone got pissed and threw the book down and said, "Screw this guy," okay, but nobody reached out to me to tell me that. And if they did, I would apologize. I mean, the intent is not to do that. I mean, and I had to worry about that. There was actually one song parody. And no way I'm going to tell you the lyrics here, but there was one song parody I wrote when I was younger. It was a spoof of "I Hate Myself for Loving You" by Joan Jett. And I cannot sing the lyrics here. That's how bad they are. But maybe I'll email them to you.
Yes.
There's no way I'm going there because, and I was going to put it in the book because I said, oh my God, if Mo Riverlake wrote those lyrics and sang them somewhere, that would be awesome. He would be just chastised by the 8 different ethnic groups that I will have offended to say the lyrics. And I said, I can't do that because that's how. I mean, it's funny to me. I'm not really. It's just a line of a song.
But sometimes it's too risky, you know?
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. Without giving you the lyrics, "I hate myself for loving you." "I hate" are the first 2 words of the revised version. And then I have a rhythmic series of nationalities, cultures, and races. The last one rhymes with "you."
Okay.
I hate blank, 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 and "ooh," an S. And again, I don't mean it. It's just funny. It works. Funny. If you sing that really fast in a row, it's. And I tell you, one of my college roommates, if I just mentioned it to him, he would know the lyrics like that because we made it up and we started cracking up. And
that's awesome.
But yeah,
one of my favorite parts of your book.
Myself in trouble on your show. Go ahead.
One of my favorite parts of your book is the point where after the cancellation begins, and he's offended every single ethnic group except one, and they got offended for not
because they didn't get offended.
They didn't get included.
Yeah.
And so they just try to come up with something.
Yeah.
They were feeling left out.
And that's my own. And that actually,
so
I might offend somebody by giving my opinion on that, but that actually is, again, it happened by accident. Again, I'm just reading. So I got distracted because Jason's trying to figure out the lyrics to that song. But no, I realized halfway through that, I hadn't figured out a proper way to have them offend African Americans or blacks. I don't know what word we want to use. And I don't mind saying it here. And so I said, you know what? I almost in this world, I would almost think that blacks, and again, this is not my commentary on them. They might get offended that they weren't like, why weren't we? You're discriminating against us. You didn't include us in your actions. You left us out. We weren't important enough to be included in all your bad behavior. And it kind of resonated with me a little bit. Like it's almost reverse discrimination. I think we have a lot of reverse discrimination in this country, where you almost have to hire. Again, making commentary that's may not be appropriate. But listen, sometimes the white guy loses the job to the black guy because if the white guy gets the job, then it's discrimination. Yep. But there's a lot of reverse discrimination. That's just, let's just say that. And then maybe the person's more deserving. I don't know.
You can't compliment. It's almost like you're not allowed to address stereotypes, no matter how statistically accurate they might be, one way or the other, even on the positive side. So you can't say that, like, even though China's cranking out more engineers, according to Jordan Peterson, China's cranking out more engineers like every year than all the engineers in America combined. So but you can't say the positive thing about that scenario, or else you're being racist.
And I didn't know how to handle. I didn't know what Mo Riverlake was going to do to offend black people, albeit accidentally, the way he accidentally offends everybody else.
Right.
I couldn't figure it out, so I didn't do anything. And then I got to that point. I said, "Geez, he hasn't offended blacks yet." So I said, "Well, here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have them say that we're offended because they didn't offend us."
Yep.
That was. Yep. And also there was the issue of there were no blacks on the game show. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think I handled it pretty well. The only reference I made, I don't mind giving it away, was when the 2 black gentlemen come into his office to complain that there's no black contestants on the show. And he just offers them candy, like haphazardly offers them candy that's on his desk. Yes. And at the time, he doesn't know what he's offering them. It turns out he offered them a watermelon flavored candy. And when it comes back later on, they're like, "And you handed us 2 watermelon candies. What were you trying to say with that?" And that was like the place where I said, well, watermelon is an old joke that used to be a way that you could make fun of blacks like watermelon. I'm not gonna, I don't want to go there, but I said that's as far as I'll go. He offered them a watermelon candy. They took it that way.
Right.
He didn't even know what he was right. And I said, make sure I kept that line, you know, I didn't cross it. Like, yeah, I'm mentioning watermelon because we all know. I mean, everybody who gets that joke knows that watermelon is associated in the stereotype. But I didn't. You know it already. So if you're laughing at it, or you can't get offended when we say anything, you're aware of it
because you know it. Right. That's the beauty.
And you know that I know it. Yeah.
Right. You know that I know that I know that you know. Yeah.
Right.
And like it is, but no one could say anything about it. No one can talk about it, you know. And
I don't know. I don't know anything.
That's the genius. The brilliance of Just a Typo is that it does sort of reveal, you know, a lot of. It's a great commentary on everybody's insecurities about, you know, outrage and cancel culture, and it's also got a good-hearted protagonist who, like, you know, he just has really bad luck and he sort of gaffes his way into something, but he's, you know, he's not a bad guy. You know, he's not trying to be a but it's amazing. The beauty of it is you can watch how society will just cognitively reframe everything in order to facilitate this feeding frenzy. Because if it bleeds, it leads, and if there's blood in the water, man, the sharks come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, and a lot of the sharks coming out of the woodwork is just for their 15 minutes of fame. They just want to latch onto the craze.
Yeah, well, you have a 24-hour news cycle, and you know Kelly Ripa's got to, you know, get her monologue in the beginning, you know. And speaking of which, John, did you ever catch any flack or did you have to negotiate anything to use real celebrities such as Ryan Seacrest, Mel Gibson, and one of our personal favorites, Emilio Estevez?
Yeah, you know, Emilio. I don't have the book in front. You have the book. There's something on page 1 or 2, a disclaimer somewhere in the first couple of pages. Because usually you write people in this is a work of fiction. Any you know, similarity to real people is unintentional. But I forget what the phrase is. That's maybe you found it. That a lawyer told me to put in the book that allows me to do that and not. Do you see it? Are you reading it or no?
I think so. Yeah. This is a work of fiction, businesses, events, and incidents. By the way, I really applaud you for not utilizing the Oxford comma in that. Thank you.
Against my will, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, fair enough. Okay, well then thank you to your editor. Businesses, events, and incidents are the products of the author's imagination, with the exception of public figures. Any resemblance to persons living or dead or actual events is purely coincidental. All
right, so what that means is, I mean, yeah, everybody's fake except for the people that aren't fake. Yeah, and I guess if Oprah Winfrey mad at me, she's certainly. I hope Oprah Winfrey reads it and puts it on. Puts it on her book list. But yeah, I could see somebody come. I mean, if this book got really popular and they made a movie out of it or something, or I could see someone reading the book and going, "Hey, wait a minute, I don't like being referred to like that." But I mean, everybody is as they are. I didn't write anything different about anybody. I mean, I still had Ellen dancing, you know, when she's got the family on, the Serbian family on her show.
The Serbian family.
That's what she does, right?
It's accurate.
I didn't do anything that, you know, people don't do. Oprah gave stuff away and had an interview. Dr. Phil asked questions. I mean, I don't think anybody would be. The only person that get mad at me is Emilio Estevez. Or Mel Gibson. Because he auditioned for the same game show. When he didn't get it, he was cursing and swearing all the way as I dragged him to the elevator. Yeah,
My Lord and Savior Braveheart. Yep,
that's right.
It's me and Cartman praying to Braveheart every day. You know.
Yeah, you know what, Mel Gibson, come after me, man, because it'll make the news, and I will sell 400,000 books that day. Right?
Yeah. I think that could be like the weirdest, like odd couple dynamic duo team up ever. Is John Bennardo? I think he'd like be an ally, actually. You know, I think.
I have to find somebody who knows him and say, "Did you know that I wrote about Mel?" But you don't show it to him because he might get upset with the way I portrayed him, and then right, and then I'm gonna get a phone call, and then I will call CNN and say, "I'm being accosted," or Entertainment Tonight, "I'm being accosted by Mel Gibson," and you know, hey, and then put me on the show, man, and you know, like I said, everybody buy the book to see what did he say about Mel Gibson. The same way that the audiobook narrator saying new strategy. I'm going to employ that.
I'm telling you,
you should write a book called Troublemakers.
Yeah, that's I keep, you know, on days where I feel like giving up on script, just make it a book because it'd probably be funnier. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's great.
Is John traditional, or I know you guys got about an hour and a half here almost, so I know, and I probably have my dinner's probably getting cold, but
Yeah,
I went self-published, Jay Reese. I didn't want to spend a year trying to find a publisher, and I'm glad I self-published it. And yeah, Jay Reese does it. I would self-publish. Allows you could self-publish 3-4 books. You get them out there. You build a little bit of a following. It can't hurt you down the road. If you're waiting, like I wrote scripts, I had to wait for agents to sign me and sell a script when I was a 20-something in Hollywood. You were asking for someone else to open the door for you. You write your own book, publish it. Well, now I have a book on Amazon, and I am talking about it on this show. And if somebody wants to go buy it, they can go buy it, and I will get the proceeds, not some agent. So. I mean, if I had a publishing house behind me, maybe I'd sell more, but for the moment, that can always that can still come. So I would she gets it.
Yeah, we're all self-published authors here, or independently published authors on Amazon, and it's been a great success for all of us in our own way. And the thing is, like, John, you were trying to get scripts sold. I was trying to get Heavenly Realms published, and back in the days of traditional publishing being your only option, it was just such a monolith that you're trying to chip into. And Amazon, has kind of, they've opened the door for everybody. But then, and some people say like, oh, self-publishing is like, it's the gutter, well, it used to be. It used to be the fringe and the gutter,
Used to be.
But nowadays, if you found this book in a library, there is no way that you would know that you did this yourself, and you can hire a competent editor. Storygrid.com is a great way to go for that. You can hire your own cover art. Some people will make their own cover art. Some people are good at it. Most, we don't recommend doing that, but you can make it look every bit as professional, and you have to do a lot of work, but you get to keep a far higher percentage of the royalties, because a publishing company isn't printing 100,000 copies and then they have to pay themselves back before you see dime.
Yep.
So
I'm happy with what I did. I hired a book cover. That took a while. That book cover. I mean, that's no accident. I don't know what people think of it, but I think it's perfect.
It's beautiful, and it's really detailed.
Staggered letters, all of that stuff had to be decided on.
Yeah. No, and the presentation is great. I mean, truly, like, you would have no idea that this was not published by one of the big 5 publishing houses.
I got my first copy in the mail. Boy, I was extremely excited. It just looked and felt like any other
great moment, isn't it?
Anything I ever got in the in the bookstore. It was one of those. And I should mention I have a second book. He was talking about the $2 bill before. I have a book called $2 Bills: America's Forgotten Currency. And if you go to Amazon, you'll find that one on my page as well. And that's kind of a companion to the movie. So if you don't want to watch the movie, go get the book. A lot of similar stuff from the movie has been brought over in text, quotes, and then some news. So, so I have 2 books. One of them is kind of a coffee table book, and then I have this novel, and won't be the last. But I am writing a script for the moment. But like I said, we'll see. It could end up a book, but if the way it's going right now.
Cool. How possible is it? I'm totally putting you on the spot with this. I'm sorry, John. How possible is it for you to sell your maybe like special editions of your $2 documentary with $2 bills as bookmarks that you have autographed? Is that a stupid idea? You can say yes. It's fine.
It's bordering on. I'm trying to figure out if it is or not. So wait, you want me to sell my book and put a $1 bill with it as a bookmark?
Yeah, charge like whatever.
We'll sign it though.
Yeah, and autograph it.
Well, I would sign it. Yeah, I mean,
a $2 bill as a bookmark.
Actually, on my YouTube channel, I will say this. I will digress. On my YouTube channel, if you submit a question and I use it in an answer to make a video, I send you a $2 bill. I host a lot of the videos. Unlike, I didn't read my own audiobook, but I host my own YouTube videos and I voice them as well.
Okay.
So I have a lot of times where I was like, hey, I'm John, director of the $2 documentary, here with another day of answering your questions about the $2 bill. This week's question comes from, Johnny Scomani from Pennsylvania, who received this crisp new $2 bill for asking this question. And then he asked the question, and then I made a video that answers the question. So I get a lot of people who submit questions trying to get that $2 bill. I get that's kind of off topic, but that's one way to get one. And people think they're so hard to get that they're trying to just some people just email me and say, "Can you send me a $2 bill?" I'm like, no, I'm not going to send you a $2 bill. No. Why? Yeah. Go watch every single one of my videos and every ad that goes with it, so I can generate $2 in revenue, and then I maybe will send you a $2 bill. But people go for it for that. I mean, people love to get one, so maybe there's something to it. Where maybe it's a marketable idea. Black Friday or something. I can. Yeah. Here's the special Friday offer: purchase the book, and I'll drop a $2 bill in it. Yeah, because I do make more than $2 a copy. But all right, I'll think about it.
Yeah, think about it. See, and speaking of special offers, where can people find Just a Typo? Where can they find the audiobook?
Yeah, the audio. Well, it's on Amazon. The audiobook is on Amazon or Audible, which I don't really understand. Audible is different than Amazon, but if you go to Amazon and find the book, Audible shows up as the vendor. So it's Audible, Amazon, or iTunes. Obviously separate from Amazon. You can get the book there. The book, the audiobook is not on barnesandnoble.com, but the book is. And I do have a discount code for your viewers. It's given to me by no, there was never a $2 coin, Michael, only in Canada. There's the discount code. I don't make the code, otherwise it would have been something simple like, 2book. But this is what I was given by a company called ACX. And Jay Reese asked a long time ago about how to find a narrator, and acx.com is where you can find people. But I had someone I met outside of it, and then I made him join an ACX so that I could hire him, and handles all the contracts and payments. But ACX gives you your that's the discount code they gave me. So unfortunately, if you're listening and not watching, 23BBHAAPUPXS. You got to play that back.
It'll be in the notes as well. It'll be in the notes.
Yeah, but now I haven't used the code, so I don't know what kind of a discount you get. But if you use that code at checkout on Amazon or Audible or iTunes, I believe you get a discount.
Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you for sharing that with listeners and watchers, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, we're really excited for you, man. The audiobook was fantastic. The book itself is great, and just can't wait to see what we come up with next.
Yeah, Jay Reese just bought it. Jay Reese, can you text? Did you use the discount code? And if so, you know what it was, or did you not use the discount code, Jay Reese? Thank you for buying it. First of all, maybe she bought the $2 bill book. Who knows? Maybe she's typing. But I'm actually very curious. I really appreciate the purchase. I don't know if she bought the audio book or the book, and I don't know if she used the discount code or not. I'm curious. Oh, you didn't use the code. All right. Well, you'll have to go buy it a second time.
Yeah, you do.
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you what the
cancel the order
was. Kill Jay Reese. No. Thank you, Jay Reese. I'm just kidding. That was very nice.
Yeah, Jay, she's a sweetheart. She is a huge fan and a big supporter, and we love her stuff. And she's definitely like one of the Goslings. It's really cool.
Yeah, she's a middle grade fiction author.
She commented last time I was on. She commented, and I follow her on Twitter and I believe Instagram. I instantly, I think we follow each other now. So she's got a new fan here as well. So thank you.
Yeah,
very nice.
And speaking of that, let's go ahead and put your these are your social media, your social medias. Let's say that. You can find John at johnbennardo.com. And then this is this, I know this is Instagram. Is this Twitter as well?
And Instagram? It's both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very good, man. Well, it's been great seeing you again. Thank you. I know we went like half an hour longer than what we planned.
Yeah.
But,
well, nobody's knocking on the door behind me, so that was all good. But I think it's time to wrap up. I'm getting hungry, and I bet you I'm in something yummy out there.
You look great in blue, by the way. Yeah. You look great in blue. That shirt looks really good on you.
Thank you.
Where can people get a shirt like that? Oh, there it is. You can go to the gosslings.creator.spring.com and get I mean, there's a myriad of different shirts, but John, that looks great. We really appreciate you representing and putting that on for the interview. That's awesome. We didn't ask him to do that. It was a total surprise.
No, and I forgot last time.
When he logged on, we were like, what in the world? That's awesome. So, man, thank you for that. That's great. Have a great night, and it's good to see you again. And can I be the first to say Merry Christmas? Is it too early for that?
Yeah, it's too early for me.
Too early?
Is it too early? Yeah. Happy Turkey Day.
Thanksgiving would be better at this point.
Yeah. Happy Pilgrim Day.
And I'll keep in touch with you guys. I don't have anything to promote or to talk about. Maybe always something to talk about. But when I get the next project going, I'd love to come on and have one of these fun chats again. It's always good talking to you guys.
Love it, man.
Love it. John Bennardo, you are the best. We adore you. Best of luck with the audiobook. Just a Typo. You can find it on Amazon and Audible in paperback and Kindle, and the $2 Bill documentary. Definitely check out on social media and on YouTube. Always a delight. Thank you, John.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right.
Have
See
a
you
good
later.
night. See ya. Always a blast. John's always
he's so
fun.
He is fun.
You know?
He's hilarious.
Yeah,
had a good time, man.
I know, it's always cool. You know what, I would like to ask John, like, next time we get together, it would be cool to just, because I'm always interested in this stuff.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, what's John Bennardo the man like?
Yeah.
What do you do in your off time? You know, like we've mentioned it a little bit before, you know, sports, you know, and but what do you read? Like Jay Reese Bradley had a good question about, like, and we didn't have time to get to it. Sorry, Jay. Because we did, once again, we went over, big surprise. You know, but she had asked, you know, what John's favorite book is.
Oh yeah,
you know, I would, you know, that's a fun thing about, like, when you have guests come back on multiple times, you really do start to build a great rapport with them, and John is no exception. And you really start to dig in deeper, and you're like, man, I just, like, the more, it's a pyramid, it's an inverted pyramid, the Mysterion. The more you ask, the more questions you have.
There's more and more.
Yeah,
sure.
And I always love the back of house process stuff of, like, you know, I don't know, what kind of shows do you like? What inspired you to do that? Like, you know, what, it just never ends. So it never ends.
never ends.
I'll shut up. John's great. And he's so gracious with his time to join us. So
Absolutely.
we always enjoy him. And
thanks to everyone that joined the chat today. And always, of course, shout out to our patrons, Jay Reese, Shannon, Adam, and Mike. You guys are great.
Yeah.
Thanks for jumping in and keeping the chat fun. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you're not a patron,
you should be one.
Yeah, you should totally think about being one. Go to patreon.com. There's our Patreon there, the Gosslings.
Yeah.
Currently $5 a month. You get all kinds of stuff. All through the week, we're doing polls. We're sharing, you know, special content, just kind of behind the scenes stuff. We do a monthly Discord with our patrons. You get discounts on shirts. You can download some of our books for free. Just it, and it's a great community. You know, right now it's just a handful of people that are really close, and we stay in touch all throughout the week. It's really fun.
Yeah, well, and two, the question that I get a lot is when's John Bennardo going to be back, or when's Gary Wayne going to be back, or when are you going to have this guest on again? Because so many of our guests, they've become our friends or our acquaintances of, some sort, and we really enjoy spending time with them, and we do try to have them back as often as possible. And so I do get those questions a lot of time. When is this person be back? Well, the best way to do that is to become a patron member and join the Patreon, and that way you will see our schedule as far out as we have it booked.
We got our full schedule on there as well.
Yeah, all the way. Almost all the way through January at this point.
There's only like one, I think, open weekend in January.
Yeah.
Except Christmas. We don't have anything lined up for Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas is an exception.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry. I'm on you're all on the naughty list.
But we really appreciate you hanging in there with us today. It was a great interview with John. Great to talk with him again. And
this is a genius book, by the way.
Yeah, just a typo. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. And it's funny because he really, I know he was talking about like pantsing it, and as you write,
you wouldn't know it.
Remember, you go back to things and connect them. When I read this book, actually, when I listened to this book, and you get to the end and you're like, oh yeah, I remember. Oh, he must have planted that on purpose, and it perfectly ties in. And we're talking like a dozen different things. And I was like, this is like masterful.
Yeah.
It was really impressive.
I think if you're a dedicated Weird Al fan, I think you're probably rocking like at least a 130 IQ.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, if you're a dedicated Weird Al fan, you should read Just a Typo.
You
will appreciate it so much.
Yeah. It's I hesitate to use the word irreverent, but it's the kind of humor that, like John was talking about, it's silly, it's quirky, it's fun, and it pokes fun at the things that probably need to be poked fun at, so we don't take ourselves so bloody seriously.
Amen to that.
And
Amen.
that's like the joy of comedy and comedy writing, and it's rare. Like, truth be told, like the amount of comedy writers out there that are really good, that stick with it, not a lot. David Sedaris, you know, and David Sedaris was always a lot of fun, but John Bennardo really succeeds at having something funny just about every page. Like every page, there's something funny that keeps you engaged, you know. And the audiobook, like I was actually really impressed by the audiobook, especially on the back end, knowing that was his first attempt. Like that was the guy's first audiobook. John, thanks. Good call on that one, dude.
I think, I think John got Kane involved in the audiobook narration process early, which is great because now that Kane knows he can do it, and now that everyone knows that Kane can do it, he could charge a lot.
Yeah.
For what he,
when you hear the audio quality
really
of
great.
Just a Typo, you will really kind of think, man, I'm amazed. This is like somebody's first attempt at. I mean, I know that like, you know, the guy had experience, you know, Kane Peterson had experience on radio, but still like radio and audiobook, not the same animal, you know? And like, dude, it's a different animal. So very cool. Very, very cool.
All right, man. Well, I think that's it for this episode. Oh, yeah. And you know what? We forgot to mention our other sponsor. We have a third sponsor, us, by God.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. You guys have been hanging with us for what, an hour and a half. We never do this at the end of our, we're at the beginning.
Buy our books.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Go to Amazon.
And we got them an audiobook too, you know? Well, I mean,
hey, Christmas is coming, right? It's right around the corner. If you got kids, bam. If you got brothers, husbands, fathers, bam, right here.
Yeah. And then if you want something that
this is for you. This is what you need to get for yourself.
If you want to laugh, yes. My book, not funny. No jokes. At least none intentional. You know, the whole thing might be considered a joke unto itself in a self-effacing, self-deprecating sort of way. You know, this funny, you know,
this no angelic warfare in this.
That's
okay.
true.
This is not for angelic war fans.
Yeah.
This, is neither angelic warfare or
but it's got a little bit of both.
It's got a little humor and it's got some fantasy in it. But it's for kids. I mean, this is like, this is corn pops right here. This is corn pops.
Yeah.
This is steak and potatoes.
This is salad.
This is no, I think this is more like hot wings. It's more like hot wings. I'd say hot wings.
I like hot wings. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did I lose you guys? Buy our books. That's all we're saying. We appreciate it.
They're all on Amazon.
Yeah. You'll love them. Your kids will love them.
And we don't have discount codes because we're greedy. So I think we do have discount codes. I don't know.
I was just feeling like I never talk about our book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's a good opportunity
I
too.
Just throw it out there. It's nicely. The end. Yeah. For anybody who actually made it to the end of this video, it's what, hour and 40 minutes in. Check it out. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah. Holidays are coming up.
And quite honestly, if you're a patron, you can download my books for free.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I can give you discount. We can give you discount codes and all that stuff if you're a patron as well. It's only $5 a month. It's basically a Red Bull.
Yeah.
One Red Bull a month keeps us going.
Here's the plan. You buy Nick's books in paperback.
Yeah.
And it gives the kids something to do in the upcoming holiday season. You buy my books to have something interesting to discuss with the family as you're sitting around Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner, awkwardly eating your dressing. And then you buy Just a Typo by John Bennardo on audiobook so that you can listen to it while you're driving your family to and fro to all the holiday parties, or maybe also while you're sitting at the dinner table and just start laughing hysterically apropos of nothing that anybody else can see because you have your ear pods in.
Yeah, you put your earbuds in as you drive your family around to look at Christmas lights. Let them do that and blast the Christmas music. In the meantime, you can be listening to something that's going to keep your attention.
Yeah, and keep you from driving off the road.
That's right. Christmas dad hack right there.
Yeah. Dad hack. Christmas dad hack. Turkey hack 2022.
Oh, man. Well, I think that's it, man. I don't have anything else.
What about you? Same. Nope. That's
all right.
All right, everybody.
We'll see you next week.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Nick.
We are the Gosslings.
Go forth
and strike down the darkness.
Have a good night, guys.
See ya.